family of a girl with a rare degenerative disease has accused the hospital that treated her of ignoring their wishes to keep her alive. Fatima Ali was born with a genetic disorder which means she has seizures and cannot stand, eat or talk. She was admitted to hospital with an infection in June 2023, but following complications with her treatment, she needed to be intubated and put on a ventilator. Also on the programme, Prince Andrew has agreed to give up his titles over the continued accusations against him. The announcement came hours before documents released by the US claimed the prince took flight aboard paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein's private jet on 4 occasions. And the government has unveiled a new plan to train and recruit more than 400,000 workers over 5 years for the clean energy sector. The Clean Energy Jobs Plan, published on Sunday, is aimed at training up the next generation of clean energy workers and doubling the existing workforce.
This is STV News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good evening. The family of a girl with a rare degenerative disease has accused the hospital that treated her of ignoring their wishes to keep her alive. Fatima Ali was born with a genetic disorder, which means she has seizures and cannot stand, eat or talk. She was admitted to hospital with an infection in June 2023, but following complications with her treatment, she needed to be intubated and put on a ventilator. The following year, doctors told her family they wanted to withdraw her life support and move Fatima to palliative care. Her parents, who are devout Muslims, refused. The parents of an 11-year-old girl have spoken to us after winning a High Court battle to continue her life-saving treatment. Here's words from our STV News senior producer, Kat Dinny.
So a doctor told you that there wasn't the money to continue treating Fatima?
Treat more expensive. I fight it till end to my daughter, to last breaths. Because my daughter, I don't want to lose my daughter.
It was the tiniest flicker of joy upon a kiss from her father that convinced a judge that Fatima Ali still had a life worth living. Home again, following 2 years in hospital, but only after a legal fight with doctors who would have turned off her life support, allowing her to die.
Fatima, it brings you home happiness again, and this house I'm bright now. I fight it till end to my daughter, to last breaths. They forcing me, we can take it to the courts. I say, whatever you're going to do it. But I'm standing to my daughter, last breathings. I'm not forget it. I'm not leaving alone my daughter.
Fatima was born with a fatal neurological disorder, leaving her unable to stand, eat or talk. Her parents had already lost a son to the same genetic condition. But for many years, Fatima was able to live at home, her family even taking her on foreign holidays, until she was admitted to Birmingham Children's Hospital 2 summers ago and placed on a ventilator. After 4 failed attempts to get her breathing on her own, doctors wanted to withdraw treatment. Her parents disagreed, but felt they were being put under pressure.
They said NHS can't afford it, these treatments.
So a doctor told you that there wasn't the money to continue treating Fatima?
Treat more expensive. Because they have no facilities to care this and that in Birmingham.
But the doctors argued that Fatima was suffering and that it would be in her best interest to be allowed to die peacefully. They applied to a High Court judge, but ultimately she ruled in the family's favour. She said it was a finely balanced decision, but it is one that raises again the controversial question of how much influence doctors should have relative to parents when it comes to life or death decisions about their children. In Fatima's case, she criticised a lack of transparency and honesty in how decisions had been made, and that doctors had underestimated Fatima's capacity for enjoyment.
They don't listen to us. When I arrive, she wake up and I give a kiss. She give me a smile. But the doctor, they see nothing. They're blind.
The hospital trust's chief medical officer responded by saying that clinical recommendations and decisions are always made in a patient's best interest. We fully respect the court's decision and have provided care and support to the patient and her family to enable her discharge home for ongoing care. Fatima's homecoming last month follows an operation that will allow her to continue to receive ventilation. She is still unable to breathe on her own.
Why did you feel so strongly that treatment should continue for Fatima?
Because my daughter. I don't want to lose my daughter.
But if the doctors say more treatment just means more pain, she doesn't have the quality of life.
Quality life, nobody have an answer for these things. We don't know how much she's got left times. But we need to spend with Fatima more happiness.
Doctors expect Fatima will live for no more than a couple of years. Given the unenviable task of choosing what's best for her, a judge decided her family's love outshines whatever pain she is in. Ben Chapman, ITV News, Birmingham.
Such a sad case there. Next this evening, Prince Andrew has agreed to give up his titles over the continued accusations against him. The announcement came hours before documents released by the US claimed the prince took flights aboard paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein's private jet on 4 occasions. The announcement was made in a statement released by Buckingham Palace, as our STV News correspondent Sijal Carrier reports.
Humiliated, embarrassed, and now effectively sacked by his family. After giving up his royal titles, Prince Andrew is now out in the cold. For Virginia Giuffre's family, justice, they say. She was his principal accuser, who was in this now infamous photo from 2001. More details this week about the sex she claims she was forced to have with Andrew, which are in a book she wrote before she died by suicide.
For me, there's a big happy moment for us because, she did fight for this. She fought against a lot of rich and powerful people, including Prince Andrew. And, most notably, I remember her saying, only one of us is essentially telling the truth, and that person is me. And I think this was a very big vindicating moment for her.
Andrew keeps his title of Prince by birth, but won't use Duke of York or any royal honours. He's also giving up membership of the Order of the Garter, the oldest and most senior order of chivalry in Britain. He'll remain at the Royal Lodge on the Windsor estate, but with no public role and no royal funding. Questions are now growing over how he'll cover his security and the estate's upkeep. At the heart of it all, renewed scrutiny over his friendship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, with claims he'd kept in touch after saying he'd cut all contact. He's always vigorously denied all of those claims. Adding to the pressure, these recently released flight logs showing Prince Andrew listed as a passenger on Epstein's private jet on 4 occasions.
I first want to commend the King and I want to commend the UK for taking some action. It is, while it may not be enough in a lot of ways that the survivors view it, it's still a lot more than what we've been given from our own government here. For the King, I think there's more that he could do. He does have the ability to strip him even further of the Prince title, which we would call upon.
And what of the impact on his family? Well, his daughters Beatrice and Eugenie keep their titles, remaining princesses. His ex-wife Sarah Ferguson will no longer use her Duchess of York title, after being dropped by numerous charities last month. After it emerged, she wrote to Epstein, calling him a supreme friend, despite publicly disowning him. Here at Windsor, this marks a significant moment in the palace's response to the scandal. Prince Andrew's decision to relinquish his titles is intended to protect the monarchy, but it also underlines how questions about his past continue to cast a shadow. Sejal Karia, ITV News at Windsor.
And you can see more of that interview on our Talking Royals podcast on ITVX and on ITV tomorrow at 12:30.
And finally, the government has unveiled a new national plan to train and recruit more than 400,000 workers over 5 years for the clean energy sector. The Clean Energy Jobs Plan published on Sunday is aimed at training up the next generation of clean energy workers and doubling the existing workforce. Ministers have identified 31 priority occupations that are particularly in demand, including plumbers, electricians and welders. It also includes plans for 5 technical excellent colleges aimed at training the next generation of green energy workers, while also fulfilling the government's drive for 2/3 of young people to be in higher level learning. Existing workers will also be provided with training to transfer their skills over to the sector under the new plans. A new programme will be launched to match veterans with careers in solar panel installation, wind turbine factories and nuclear power stations, as well as tailored schemes for ex-offenders, school leavers and the unemployed. Up to 20 million will also be allotted to upskill existing oil and gas workers into the clean energy sector. And the Energy Skills Passport, which identifies routes for oil and gas workers to transition into offshore wind, will be extended to new sectors including nuclear and the electricity grid. Energy Secretary Ed Miliband said communities have long been calling out for a new generation of good industrial jobs. The clean energy jobs boom can answer that call. Our plans will help create an economy in which there is no need to leave your hometown just to find a decent job. Thanks to this government's commitment to clean energy, a generation of young people in the industrial heartlands can have well-paid secure jobs, from plumbers to electricians and welders. Under the government plan, Scotland could see an increase of up to 40,000 jobs by 2030, Wales could see up to 15,000, and Northern Ireland 2,500. The north of England could also see up to 60,000 jobs generated over 5 years. In the plan, the government will set out how the trade unions will be a key part of its jobs drive by recognising their role in securing high pay and good conditions for workers. This includes a new Fair Work Charter between offshore wind developers and trade unions to ensure firms benefiting from public funding provide good wages and strong workplace rights. And there you go, that is it from the Weekend Tea Time team. From all of us here, we're back at 10. Bye bye for now.